Ukrainians may be presenting some more surprises because there are more Ukrainian troops, more brigades deployed near the border, and Ukrainian military bloggers are hinting that this is not the end, that the Ukrainian army is preparing to do other things.
Now, around 1,000 Ukrainian troops have entered several miles into Russia's Kursk region, which sits on the northeastern border. The Kremlin conceived war on Ukraine was supposed to be short and sharp. It's been anything but. Now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Moscow must feel the consequences.
Russia has brought the war to our land, and it should feel what it has done. We strive to achieve our goals as soon as possible in peacetime and under just peace conditions, and it will happen.
Well, the ongoing incursion appears to have caught the Russian military by surprise. Leonid Ragozi is a journalist and analyst covering the war. Leonid, welcome to the programme. Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
What is the latest then from the Kursk region? The Ukrainian troops have been there for several days now.
Well, the Russians have brought in reserves, and they're trying to stabilize the situation. Ukrainian assault groups acting quite far away from the border, and there is no front line formed yet. So it's hard to say how much land the Ukrainians have actually seized. And overnight, Ukrainian army attacked an air base in Lipetsk region, causing detonation of ammunition, and the Russian authorities decided to evacuate several hundred locals because of that. There were also attacks in Crimea and Sevastopol, and there was an attempt at landing at Kinburn speed by the Ukrainians. That's a patch of land near Crimea, which they were trying to liberate.
In terms of the strategic significance of Kursk, I note this from a State Department spokesman in the US, saying that Russia had launched attacks on Ukraine from this region, and therefore the US supports Kyiv's right to defend itself. That is also notable given that Ukrainian troops are using Western equipment, tanks, etc., in order to carry out this incursion as well. So there could be an interesting red line that's been crossed here in some ways.
Well, indeed, a red line has been crossed, and the probable expectation of the Ukrainian authorities when they were planning this operation is that by crossing this particular red line, they would be able to persuade Western governments to allow them what they wanted most, to be able to use long-range missiles to strike Russian air bases from where planes take off in order to strike Ukrainian territory. That has been an ongoing political campaign for several months, but the United States and Germany have so far been against allowing the Ukrainians to do this. So this could be one of the political goals of this operation.
Will Russian retaliation and response be contained to the region, or is it likely that Russia's retaliation will extend beyond that and be harsh to other parts of Ukraine?
Well, I'm sure the Russians will be trying to avenge for what essentially is an invasion into Russian territory on a much greater scale than previous incursions that happened over the last year or 2 years. But everything depends on the amount of resources the Russians have. Of course, they have more men and more ammunition than the Ukrainians, and for the Ukrainians, a longer front line is not necessarily the best thing. It actually benefits the Russians. What the Russians have done over the last 24 to 48 hours is that they occupied 2 villages in another location at the border. So you could expect the Russians to try to cross the border in other places. However, the Ukrainians may be presenting some more surprises because there are more Ukrainian troops, more brigades deployed near the border, and Ukrainian military bloggers are hinting that this is not the end, that the Ukrainian army is preparing to do other things. So the situation altogether is extremely unstable. The Russians are continuing their advance in the south of Donetsk region. This is probably a decisive battle that is going on, at least for this year.
Yeah.
And it really depends on many spontaneous factors and on decisions of specific commanders, what the outcome will be at the end of the day.
Leonid, thank you very much. It's very helpful. It's good to speak to you. Thanks for joining us. Leonid Ragozi, an analyst covering the war, well, in Ukraine and indeed beyond, I suppose.
Gracias.